Hi, so my name is Marius, and I'm an ex-central banker, regulator, payments infrastructure expert, turned into tokenized assets startupper. And Axiology is developing regulated capital markets infrastructure built on, obviously, XRP Ledger. So what is the problem that we are trying to tackle? We can rely on something that has been said on the previous panel. We would like to make capital markets simple, and, well, they are not. The majority of people actually are not trading in the majority of assets that the big boys in the capital market are trading. The average transaction in the bond market is 2 million euros in European Union. Raise your hand if that's the average transaction you do. You don't, right? So that is the problem. But we're not trying to replace the gravity laws of the financial market. We embrace them, and we try to change them from within. So if you want to change the system, you need to be part of the system, and that's our mission. How we do that? Well, we have a window of opportunity. And that window of opportunity is a specific legal regime in European Union passed by European Parliament that says, hey guys, let's try to do it differently. And that different regime is a DLT, which stands for Distributed Ledger Technology, pilot regime, which allows us to do something which usually cannot be done. And it's done by the experts from a regulatory, infrastructure, payments, capital market background. In a nutshell, what is our business model and what we do? Because I assume that not everyone here is coming from the CSD, regulated markets business, right? So if you issue a security, it needs to be recorded somewhere. And in the current financial market, that entity is called a CSD, Central Securities Depository. Axiology is providing that function. If you're trading in securities, the trade is not final until it's settled. And the settlement, usually done in central bank or commercial bank money, is provided by Securities Settlement System. Axiology is providing that. And to be able to trade in those securities, you need a place. And that place is either a regulated market or an MTF, multilateral trading facility, some kind of an organized marketplace. Regulated. Axiology is that. And to be able to interact with an exchange, raise your hand if you can just jump right now and put your order into Nasdaq Stock Exchange or New York Stock Exchange. You can't. You need a broker-dealer, an intermediary that will investigate that. Are you fit for that transaction? Can you actually do it? Do you really understand what you're doing, right? This is regulation. And Axiology is doing that. And all of that is being done on a single data structure in one regulatory environment. This is the innovation, and this is the regulatory innovation that we have in the European Union. Well, to give you a bit more specifics on what exactly this regulation is enabling us to do, is creating new types of regulatory entities which do not exist until this very moment. They are introducing new types of entities called DLT MTF, DLT SS, and DLT TSS. You don't have to know those acronyms. The point being that Axiology is developing this full stack where we are your broker, we are the exchange, this is the place where the price discovery is happening, this is where the settlement is happening, and where the custody of the digital tokenized securities is happening. This regime is a temporary regime. European Union says, we're going to give you 6 years. Prove to us that blockchain can actually change things. Well, we're not going to allow you to do just anything, derivatives, right? No, a certain set of assets, equities, fixed income instruments, and UCITS fund units. For those who are not from European Union, specific fund units accessible to retail investors. And very important element, this regime allows trading in regulated financial securities through such infrastructures directly without an intermediary. So if right now, if you want to buy Apple stock, as I said, you need to find a broker-dealer who puts your order into some exchange, if you tokenize Apple stock and put it on such an infrastructure, you don't need a broker-dealer. Actually, two individuals can have a buy and sell order either through an XRP order book or potentially automated market-making facility. And let me stress here, we are talking here about regulated securities and regulated market. Is this the only place around the world that this innovation is taking place? No. Switzerland has done that. Swiss central bank is already providing the settlement in central bank money for tokenized sovereign asset. The Swiss government has issued tokenized government bond, and which is settling on a CSD, SIX CSD in Switzerland. Interestingly, UK is going through some regulatory discussion right now, and the digital securities sandbox is something that should be going live this summer or at the end of the summer. And everyone is trying to see all of those keywords: atomic settlement, elimination of multiple risks that are inherent in the current architecture of financial markets. Can it actually be done? And this is a live regime where it's not a kind of a pilot, and we are trying to implement it. In a nutshell, for those who are a little bit more deep-minded into this subject, Axiology will be an issuer of an asset. So if you are an SME company somewhere in Europe, you go to the bank, you want to take a 2 million loan, and they show you the middle finger because you don't have a collateral, the usual problem of an SME. Can you issue an unsecured instrument, corporate bond? Well, theoretically, yes. Practically, no, because the issuance costs are exorbitant. That's too low of a scale. Can it be done in an efficient way somewhere in Europe? Yes. Axiology is the place where you can issue corporate bonds. Axiology actually could be the place for sovereigns to provide new types of instruments where you approach your constituents and say, look, I'm not increasing taxes to collect money for the budgetary expenses. I'm not just asking you to buy into the government bonds for the general purpose of a budgetary expense. What about you? Do you care about nature or some other important issue? We're going to issue a purpose-bound government bond, and you can allocate your funds into that particular instrument. What is the main problem? The problem is that sometimes we don't trust the government, because the government is this amorphous element where, one government issued the bond and the others are spending, right? So how can I make sure that if the government said that the proceeds of the bond will be used for the, in my case, for the defense of the country, that these funds will not be used for some other good causes like roads or education, very noble cause, but I care about national defense. Can you give me an instrument where I can allocate my money for this purpose? If you do, this is the structure that we can use. And to distribute those instruments to facilitate the causes that we do care about. So this is what we are building, and this is the architecture. It's a consortium architecture built on XRPL, where we have nodes distributed across the broker-dealers. The settlement asset is within the regime of markets and crypto asset regulation in Europe. So the settlement asset is a stable coin, but a regulated stable coin. And the regulator takes the data from the infrastructure directly, and if there is a possibility, technical possibility that supervisor is up to the standard, we can run a node for the regulator. And that's what we have done. If you have questions, I can take one question.
Hello. Apologies if this is a bit naive. What is regime? What is regulated? And I have dual citizenship, UK and I'm from Greece. So how all this come together? and how you accompany all this. Again, apologies. Maybe my question is, sorry, maybe my question is naive.
Kalimera. So this is the European regime, and we can provide these services in Greece. After Brexit, unfortunately, we can't do that in UK, but UK, as I said, is on the road to be doing the same, and the name of that is Digital Securities Sandbox. Thank you very much.